Welcome to Under the Spotlight. I'm Carmela Sterling. I'm so happy you're with us today. During the show, you're going to feel uplifted, a boost, some humor, and really leave with a smile on your face. In the next few minutes, you'll meet our guest who has become a quick friend. I love that when that happens. Fast friend, feel comfortable. She made me laugh, makes me smile, and her whole thing is helping others feel less stress through humor. Have you had those life mishaps? Well, this woman is an expert in helping us getting through those life mishaps with some humor. Meet my delightful and wonderful guest. Gina, you ready to go this morning? Gina Ramsey, who's an authorpreneur. And I think this woman is wide awake and ready to go all day long.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me.
You're welcome. I'm glad you said yes. Even in our pre-interview, and we were talking, I think we laughed more in those few minutes with you than we had all day. So thank you for that. Thanks for kicking it off just
You're
perfectly.
welcome.
I love that you call yourself an entrepreneur. Does that mean we have multiple books happening? I know we have one we can talk about, but are there many more coming?
Yep, there are. I have another book coming out in spring of 2024, and
Wow.
then it'll be my brand will include an anthology, so it'll be similar to Chicken Soup for the Soul, but with Murphy's Law stories. If it'll happen to you. So people will be able to submit their own stories.
Love. All right, so this is the kickoff, but we have to acknowledge Frankie's on camera with us too, besides Gina. Hi, Frankie. Hi, sweetheart. How are you, sweet girl? Look at her. She's napping. Your
She,
dog.
she's just putting her chin on my shoulder. So
She's
she's a
what?
baby. She's putting her chin on my shoulder.
Oh, how old is she?
She is 6.
Super, super sweet. Along with Frankie, husband and son. Yeah.
Husband and son. I have 2 daughters as well.
Oh, how wonderful.
And yeah, and 3 cats.
So with this life, are they all supportive of all this writing? This is a lot of work, the writing, the press kit, the publishing, just all of this. And it didn't happen overnight. It's a long process, right? Getting these
Yeah.
books to life.
Yeah, they are all supportive. The biggest question I get is, like, how do they feel about being in this book? Because a lot of these stories happen to our family, like most of them. And so, but we've all laughed about these stories through the years. So they are just so very proud of me for finally writing that book.
Well, I want to say this to you on a personal note. I love that you actually did this because think about for all of us, ladies and gentlemen, sitting down at Thanksgiving dinner as an example, or someone's birthday. Don't you reminisce? We reminisce about the crazy stuff that happened or the funny memories, even though it might be embarrassing, especially for mom and dad, because the kids, as they get older, usually wrap those funny memories around some mishap with mom and dad, right? Agreed?
Yes, yes, absolutely.
All right, the first book, she's the author of Burnt Glove Boxes, Embracing Life When It Goes Up in Flames. How, I have to ask you that. It's just going to weigh on my mind until we get through this interview. You do an impression of someone that my dad used to actually say to me, just sing because you sound like Ethel Merman. I do not. It's just so bad. But you actually do a great impression of Ethel Merman. Is that right?
I do.
Why or how, but I'm dying to hear it. Seriously, I know it's early. If you wouldn't mind, here
Oh,
she
I
goes.
wouldn't mind. I would have. So do it. You want me to do it?
Yeah, absolutely. What a
All right.
kickoff.
I'm going to put Frankie down because she might.
Okay, let's go.
There's no business like show business. There's no business I know.
Yes, I love you. That is just awesome. Why Ethel Merman? Where'd that come from?
I rode the school bus with a gal when I was in 8th grade. And she could do all these impersonations. She was my age or younger. I don't remember how old she was, but we were both in junior high. And she could do Fred Flintstone, Yogi Bear, Ethel Merman. And I
Hmm,
said, I love that. You have to teach me. And
I
she
just
did.
love it. What was the first mishap that started you down this path of collecting? Now that we know you collected the thought of doing impressions from someone else, are you sort of a collector of ideas through the years and then you remember them? Because your idea of putting these mishaps in a book has been marinating for what? How many years? A number of
It's
years.
it's been over 20 years.
Over 20 years.
Yeah.
You are my inspiration. You certainly are. So it's never too late. But what was it that you said, oh my gosh, I absolutely have to put these in writing because this mishap really started it all? Which one
Yeah.
was it?
Well, for years, I would tell my stories to people and they would laugh, and I'd be like, "This is craziness, and you gotta write a book. These things are so hilarious." And I would say, "Yeah, I should write a book." The mishap that really solidified the book was an actual burnt glove box.
Oh,
And when our glove box burnt, I said, that's the title to my book. I'm gonna write this book,
oh,
and it's gonna be called Burnt Glove Boxes.
literally caught fire.
It wasn't on fire, but a hole was burning into it slowly
Oh my
and
gosh.
filled our car with smoke.
Oh my gosh.
Yes.
That does make me nervous. But what is it about the humor part? To tie this together for us, something happens, we have a little mishap. How does the humor play into relieving some of the stress? And of course, everybody's waiting to hear some stories of your mishaps. We love those stories.
Yeah, yeah. Well, honestly, it's just been my way of, I guess, coping with things. In the moment, a lot of these stories, I could have cried or screamed, but it was stepping back after the story and going, "Oh
Mhm.
my gosh," and then going, "Well, there's another one to add on to all this other stuff." And I honestly feel like there's so much serious stuff in life, and if we
So
can take just silly mishaps, that what else are you gonna do about it? So you're gonna either laugh or cry or scream. Why not laugh?
mhm. You have something in your mind you just go to, just laugh about it, don't cry over spilt milk kind of thing, or
Yeah,
oh,
later on, after taking a step back, because again, in the moment, you're just like, Chris Farley where he's ripping his hair out and your hair's standing all over the place, but then taking a step back, and really, I watch a lot of humor movies, a lot of humor shows, and there's always that conflict, that crazy thing that happened, right? And
yes.
so it's really like what people enjoy. So,
Does the family key off of you? Like, give it, would you mind? One story,
yeah.
at least, of something that's happened and you all just sort of laughed it off, please.
Yeah. So there is a story of when we went as a family to Disney World to celebrate my oldest daughter's birthday, or
Yes.
not birthday, her graduation. I'm sorry. So we flew down. We were so excited. We got on it was the Disney's Magical Express at the time. It was the shuttle that takes you from the airport to the resort. And there was a person on this bus, and we kept hearing her yell out in like kind of like the Boston-esque accent,
Yes, love it.
"Bobby, I'm frickin' starving."
Mhm.
And it's like 10:30 in the morning. This woman was drunk, laying
Oh,
across the seat, screaming the whole entire time, "Bobby, I'm frickin' starving. I'm frickin'
stop.
starving, Bobby." And we're like, Bobby's probably under the seat somewhere, like freaking out that you're acting like an imbecile. And but I got to thinking, like, who comes to the happiest place on earth first thing in the morning drunk?
Somebody's having a good time.
Right, right.
Oh my
Either
God.
that or she needed like an Ativan or something to fly,
She,
and like, yeah, something happened there. But ever since then, our family, if we get hungry, or it's getting time and it's not every
I
time,
love
but
it.
every so often I'll be like, "Bobby, I'm freaking starving. We need to get something to eat."
I love that. And don't we all have that as families, right?
Yeah.
We have
Yep.
those little colloquialisms, those little sayings, something that maybe came from, I have a lot that came from my mom, the
Yeah.
way that she used to say things. I do love that. You actually are you still a licensed clinical social worker? You worked in that field for a long time.
Yeah.
Are you still doing that?
I am. I'm doing it full time in medical social worker. Mhm.
Okay, that's really interesting. So I noticed this as I was reading your bio. You facilitate numerous wellness groups and trainings, teaching others stress reduction tools to improve health and well-being.
Yeah.
Connection there,
Yeah.
humor and well-being, less yes?
Yes. Yes. It's pretty remarkable the different tools that you can use to reduce stress. And it's all about like the nervous system and calming the nervous system and singing and humor and deep breathing, and when you're laughing really hard, what are we doing? We're gasping for air, right? We're taking those big inhalations. So really it is a stress reduction tool that is really helpful.
This is powerful. It's
Mhm.
not just, oh, let's have fun or laugh about something. It's actually a tool to
Yeah,
relieve stress. Now, we're not saying, okay, you go through something or have a mishap and you're a little frustrated. You have to get through something. Some times are tough and difficult, and we
right,
get through those. But there typically are elements that we remember that are like, oh my gosh, I can't even believe that happened, kind
right,
of thing.
right.
So how do you teach that in this environment? Can you give us a couple of tips on maybe how we could use that in our life?
Yeah, absolutely. Number one, I I am big on watching humor shows and just like silly stuff. Humor is very subjective. What makes one person laugh, other people don't like. So an example is Seinfeld. We're Seinfeld family. We've got the Festivus poll, little poll that we put up every Christmas. But I've found that people either love or hate Seinfeld.
Right.
There's no, well, it's okay. It's, I don't like that show, or we love that show. So I guess the main thing is like what spin can you find on what happened? And again, it may, like you said, it may not be in that moment because everything's so chaotic, but what smile can you bring to that? And I try to I saw a comment by Mary Ellen, need for stress. Yeah.
Oh, that's so
Um
great. Thank you, Mary Ellen.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think it's so very important to be able to take a step back. Not everything's going to be funny. There are going to be
Right.
things in your life, but I even have a friend whose son committed suicide. And she said to me, and I always want to say to people, my goal is not saying you need to find the funny in everything in life, because
No,
there are
you're
things that
right.
aren't funny. But she said to me, she said, Gina, we did have something funny that happened with that, because after the autopsy, the medical examiner said, did you know he had two spleens? And she's like, well, of course he did. So she was even like later being able to say that's kind of funny.
Right. Finding because we know, like, laughter, as crazy as that sounds, let's just say, right? That's just crazy. But the laughter is helping us heal. So we're reaching for that. We're grabbing those. We're not laughing at
Right,
situations that aren't funny.
right,
We're remembering the moments that made us laugh, to take that laughter through. Like, to Mary Ellen's point. Okay, so she needs some coping mechanisms for stress.
yeah,
Do you have any guidance there? Let's say it's a very stressful day. It's one thing after another. One thing, you've experienced that as a mom, right?
right.
One thing after another. Do you take those breaks? Say, okay, I just need to take a little break, and maybe it's something on social media, or maybe you're reaching for another. How do you work that in? Let's help Mary Ellen with her questions,
Yeah,
please.
so how I work it in is I will take deep breaths. I will do the deep breathing stuff, but a lot of times it's those being able to do a snarky comment to a coworker, and not in a bad way, but
Sure,
like going, "Can you believe this again?" Or
exactly.
our big thing is being able to send a GIF or one of
Oh,
those reels, finding a
yeah.
reel that is hilarious, copying it, and my best friend and we usually send stuff to each other, or my other entourage of buddies that you know that we all seem to be able to find, just like a little chuckle. And I love just finding something funny and sending it to
I
somebody.
love
You don't
this.
you don't know how I watch it and I'm like, that's hilarious. And then sending it to somebody and having them send, a laughing emoji or whatever. And then I know I brighten their day too. Just,
Listen, this is Great advice, because even though the situation, I feel like maybe some people are going eye roll, like you can't just make funny out of everything. But if you're in a very heavy situation and something pleasant comes through that makes you smile, you know the difference that that makes. It
Yeah.
lingers, right? And maybe you
Yeah.
can go back to it. You've had a really just your wiped out day, and your friend sends you something that makes you laugh, as Gina's talking about. This is excellent advice because it's easy to do now, right? Send a little text, send a gift, send a meme, whatever it is that makes you laugh. And even if for a moment, we'll take
Mhm.
those blessed moments, right? That
Yes.
take us out of the stressful situation, right? And then you realize that it's something you can go back to again and again. Will I use your book this way? I'm so excited to get your book. Will I use your book in this way, like stories that will make me laugh and I can go back to?
Yeah, and
Yeah.
my goal, my overall goal, and I write about this in the beginning of the book, is if I can make one person smile or giggle, that's going to cause ripple effects. And I never realized the magnitude of that, like how that is going to happen, and how powerful it would be. But I have parents sitting down reading the stories to their kids for bedtime stories. I have people reaching out to me to say, my mom, she's been really sick for a long time and she was in
Mhm.
the hospital. And I brought her a copy of your book, and it brought her so much joy during her healing period. And so it's creating these connections. We've become so kind of disconnected, with the social media and all those
Yeah,
types of things. There are
agreed.
benefits to it, the laughing and stuff like that, which is what I usually use it for. I scroll past drama. um, but just the impact. And I didn't think about it before I wrote the book, but to think that, oh my gosh, like because there's a lot of humor out there that's not so clean. And
Mhm.
I have a couple of those books too, the language and stuff. But to
Oh,
be able to take pride in that a parent can sit down with their child with my book and read
sure.
it to them, as like I never even, so that brought me a lot of joy to know
That's so
that
awesome.
parents are connecting with their kids in that way.
So, thank you to Peter, our producer. Are you putting up a QR code for the book so they can just literally just wave your code from your phone? Just wave that over the QR code, and you're right there. You're also on Amazon. I like sending people to your website, which is GinaRamseyAuthor.com.
Yes. Yeah.
www.GinaRamseyAuthor.com. You call yourself an authorpreneur, which I love, and we're excited about this book and all the others to come in the whole series. But you made me keep thinking of the laughter is the best medicine. We've heard that a million times in our life, no matter what our age. And you're bringing that to the table today,
Yes.
which is
Yes.
which is great. Have you
Yeah.
enjoyed this process of the book, making the book come to life?
I absolutely have. And the whole process of the writing and the meeting people, going out to events and doing book signings, I am meeting so many remarkable people. Um, I tend to not say no to opportunities because you just never know who you're going to meet and what connections those people have, that it's just been such a great thing.
Can you share a couple more stories? Whether we're getting a request for more stories. You got it. You got it.
Yeah,
Where
yeah.
do you want to go?
Yeah, so let me think. Okay, so we had this dog, and he was a golden retriever, and his name was Rusty Rum Cola, and so we called him Rusty. We had a couple of nicknames for him, Rusty Boy and Big Dummy, and it was a term of endearment. He wagged that tail when we said, Big Dummy, come here." He loved to run. That's the one downfall he had, and he would wait for the weak members of the family to go to the side door, and he would bolt. And um he was such a smart dog, but he would do some things that just made you question, like, how intelligent he really was.
Poor Rusty.
So there was a time where of course, you do your birthday parties for your kids and you try to think of the creative themes. And we went through all the Barbie and SpongeBob's and all of that Disney things.
Love.
And so I said, you know what, this year, Katie, we're going to do like a tropical party theme, with the grass skirts and all of that type of stuff, make punch and swimsuits, fun stuff. So we had some friends that had just had one of those parties, and they had totes of, the netting and the grass skirting for tables and stuff like that.
Cool.
We'll loan this stuff to you. Okay, awesome. So they had boxes of those dried starfish that are like have different colors, pinks and blues and turquoise. Like, this is so cool. Well, we had an emergency with my husband,
Oh,
and we ran out the door, broke his finger. He's still alive. He's good. He's upright.
that's good.
But we left,
Right.
and Rusty decided to eat boxes and
Oh,
boxes of the starfish. He didn't chew on shoes like normal dogs do. He ate boxes of starfish, and that turned out to be not such a great idea for him.
no.
Yeah. So, not to get too gross, but,
Mm.
it was colorful. Let's put it that way. It was colorful what came back out of
Can't wait
him.
to hear what the humor is in this, because I'm already
Oh
like,
my gosh.
oh,
Oh my
housekeeping
gosh.
help.
Oh my gosh. But like, that's the thing. Like, okay, now I'm thinking, how am I going to explain this to my friends that my dog ate your starfish,
Oh,
and not your homework, but the starfish?
he was the dog that could eat the homework.
Oh my gosh. But it was like after all of these things, I mean, he
Oh,
had eaten a whole cheesecake at one point of a neighbor's.
oh my gosh.
He would run all over the neighborhood. My husband tried, one of those collars to kind of zap him a little bit. He borrowed it from somebody. Rusty figured out how to get away from that, out of the range.
Human dog.
He took off.
He was human.
I said, and I told my husband right from the beginning, you'll find my husband in the book of like, I'm always the voice of reason, I'm the rule follower. That's not a good idea. You probably shouldn't do that. It'll be fine. And then a $400 collar that was loaned to us is running around the neighborhood on our dog. So
Oh my gosh. But you're not laughing through. I mean, well, the colorful starfish that came out. I mean, that would
yeah,
be like, oh my gosh, this is kind of
over and over and over again.
right. He's safe and he's healthy and everything is good. But that
Right.
that was the funny, finding the funny moments. Is it
Yeah,
coming naturally to you to find the funny moments and
it
the
does.
kids?
And, I think I get that. My dad and my brother are super funny, and they're always acting silly. Um, and my dad's deceased now, but he found funny in so many things and just silly things.
Wonderful.
One of his comments, he would make these comments. Have you seen the Duck Dynasty?
Yes.
Okay, so Cy on Duck Dynasty, when we found our daughter watching Duck Dynasty, Cy was talking, and I'm like, "Oh my gosh, that's my dad. That's my dad." So
Oh
my
my,
dad would say, I would always say, "Dad, you gotta do this, you gotta do it, Dad." And he's like, and he had a Southern accent, and he would always
oh,
say, "I
perfect.
don't gotta do anything but die and stink, and I already stink, so I just have one thing left to do."
Oh
So,
my gosh, I love that. Oh, the things that just carry
and then he
on.
would chuckle, right? So,
Oh my goodness. We just love you. I love your
thank
thinking.
you.
It's powerful. It's helping people smile and laugh through even your stories and your mishaps. Thanks for sharing them. Can't wait to get your book. I'm super excited. Everybody go order, go check out more from Gina on GinaRamseyAuthor.com. And you can do a little shopping for yourself. I think we all needed this relief today, a little
Good, good.
stress relief, finding the humor. It's a great calming strategy. If you're not quite sure how it's going to work, I wish you could spend the day with us, because I drop more things. I have a little bit of a clumsy side. And as a kid, I was always nervous because Dad would reference the clumsiness. But as an adult, I realized it's really kind of funny. Some of the things, the way I drop them, is hysterical. Like, it's so creative. Only I could do that. So I laugh. I laugh at it. Truly, it's remarkable. So find that funny, find that humor. And if you need a little help, I think you have a brand new friend in Gina Ramsey. I have enjoyed this so much. Thank you. Thank you for the time, your gifts that you bring to all of us.
Thank you. I'm so excited. I'm just so glad to bring joy to our world, and that's happening, and that's just the amazing part of it.
Where are you going to be for the next book signing? Do you have a location you can let us know about, or are you just going to keep posting those on your website?
Yeah, so those will be on my website.
Okay,
When is my next? Oh, my next one's in Superior, Wisconsin. And so, if you're in the area, definitely pop on over. It'll be over at Angie's Closet, and I'll actually be there with two other local authors. And
nice.
yeah, it's just such a blessing to meet all the really incredible people that I'm meeting. So
Well, may
yeah,
you continue to be blessed with all these incredible stories. Thanks for sharing them today. And thank our audience for being here. And Gina, really
yes,
appreciate you. If you'd hang out for a minute, I know Peter wants to say something to you. So
sounds
as you
great.
go off screen, know that we all appreciate you so very much. And thanks for the impression of Ethel Merman. I really appreciate
Oh, very
hearing that
welcome.
one. As others too for our next visit. I want to thank our sponsor, our continuing sponsors. We're in season 3 and many more to come. But cheers, if you love coffee, sprinkle a little happy coffee in your coffee or have it as your coffee. Here's the link to it. If you need it and you're not catching it on line right now, just reach out to me via carmelasterling.com and I'll make sure you're cared for in the way that you want. Great customer service, direct product delivery to your front door, and it literally elevates the entire body to a happiness level that you've never known before, and a lot of productive energy as well. Cheers. Thank you, HCO, for continuing sponsorship with Under the Spotlight. Thank you to our producer for making this happen, and to our very special guest, Gina, today. I've loved having you on, and I'll see you all next time here Under the Spotlight.